Thank you, Mel, and thank you very much to the panelists. I think that was a phenomenal way to end what I would say has been a really successful day. We titled the conference, if you'll look at the top, "We Are Not Done Yet." Well, we're almost done, so you have about 5 minutes to bear with me, and then you will be done, and there'll be some drinks outside, and there'll be actually some more work to do. I'll tell you about that in a moment. The revolution in hepatitis C treatment has really completely changed the game. I think we'd all agree that. In record time, perhaps faster than we ever believed was possible, and maybe that's why we're a little uncomfortable that the sands are shifting under our feet. And it's bringing many in the world to state that perhaps the end of hepatitis C is just around the corner. And so many of us have been asking, what are our roles going to be in the next 5 years? What will we be able to do in the future when this is all done? And will we still have jobs? Well, Dave Wong has already declared that he's done, so don't try to schedule a hepatology appointment with him in 5 years, because he says he's hanging up his shingle. But the rest of us, I think, are really struggling to be sure that we're relevant, and how can we, as a training program, direct our trainees in areas to focus. So in designing this program today, we really wanted to directly address many of these questions that we're grappling with. And as a training network, how can we encourage our trainees to stay in hepatitis C and branch into areas that are really of need? And I think you'll agree with me wholeheartedly that this outstanding panel of speakers has done a fantastic job today at answering these questions, at least after NAGLA makes sure that they do. The questions, do we need a vaccine? Well, we need a vaccine, but it seems like it will be far from realizing one. Funding is a problem, and the balance of funding between treatment and vaccines may be one of the limiting factors. Daniel Lamar tells us it's time that basic scientists should just move on. There's no more need to stay in hepatitis C, but I think we heard very nicely today that there's a lot of discovery science that is still really going to be important, particularly understanding immune correlates of protection that can lead to addressing needs for vaccine and prevention. What can the real world tell us about hepatitis C and its treatments? Well, they tell us that DAAs work, but they also haven't told us a lot of things yet, especially in the highest risk populations that many of us are dealing with, people who inject drugs. We also heard that resistance does matter and will matter, but I think there's some controversy about that, and that's an area of research that I think is still going to be an important one to follow. This afternoon, we really focused on addressing many of the remaining challenges. We've heard that models are great, but real-world data is really needed to look at treatment as prevention and what it will bring, especially in high prevalence populations. I think the models suggest that we can have a great impact with treatment in prevalence populations of 20%, but we're facing 60% or more in high-risk populations in this country, and many countries around the world are doing the same. That the continuum of care is really essential, and how we integrate harm reduction strategies and scaling up of treatment. But what happens after care and after cure? The expanded role of nurses and frontline practitioners and services in the delivery and follow-up of people is going to be essential. We also learned that political will can realize on a massive scale treatment for hepatitis C in countries which choose to embrace it, and how this can be important in pushing down prices that can make these large-scale treatments possible. And I think we can learn as Canada from these models. And importantly, I think towards the end of the day, we started to see how we could move to making a difference. I think many of us appreciated the presentations that spoke about two-eyed seeing as a model of coming together and moving forward together to conduct research in Indigenous communities. And if you take that further, how we can use that in advocacy, I think it's a model for going forward. And so in the end, it still appears that access is one of the greatest issues that we still have to overcome, but that access to treatment is not all we're talking about. We can't let prevention take a back door to treatment, and that policy and our engagement with policymakers is probably going to be the best way that we can actually impact this area. So I'm just going to close now by thanking, first off, my co-chair, Selena Sagan, who's been working tirelessly behind the scenes. And I'd like her to stand up because I don't think many of you got to see her today, but she's done a tremendous amount of work in getting this program together. Thank you, Selena. And the organizing committee who's put together such a great scientific program today. And of course, I can't close without thanking the woman who's really behind this meeting year after year after year and making things go so smoothly, and that's Norma Shusha. I wish you'd come up, please. Can you come up, Norma? I have something for you. No, come up. No. So she countless emails and tirelessly answering all times of day and night. You seem to be working all the time. We have a little gift for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I have to say it's a pleasure to do all this for you.
So now we are done. Well, we're almost done. You still have work to do. I would like to encourage you to, when you leave this room, to visit the poster sessions. We have a lot of really interesting science and research that's being presented in large part by a number of our trainees, but also a number of abstracts that are of great interest and will supplement the work that we discussed today. And I think we also must leave with the message that we have lots of work to be done, not only in research, but in advocacy. And I think we were really given some very practical approaches to starting that route. And I'm happy to continue on it with you. And I thank you all for your attention and your participation. And please do not forget to fill out the feedback requests that you will be getting by email in the coming days. And thank you, and look forward to seeing you again next year.